Hey guys, welcome back to the shop. Today I'm compression testing this engine sitting in front of me. And before you ask, no, it's not going in that thing. That car is actually getting an LS. If you want to know more about it, just check out my other videos. This will be for another project that I have. I don't want to get into what it's going to be for until I go through the motor, make sure everything is good. I am already aware of some harness issues. For example, our starter wire is missing. I don't know why these wires are exposed. I'm assuming they were doing, I don't know, who knows what. Fortunately, we have another harness that I can use temporarily just to get the engine running. And then I'm going to take this harness, use the good harness, and match up what's damaged, repair what's damaged, and I'll throw this harness back on. For now, my main concern is making sure the engine is healthy, so I'm just going to compression test it today. I want to make sure before I commit to cleaning this thing up that it's 100% good to go. A little low compression would be okay to me. I'm not looking for a perfect motor, but I am looking for something that is going to at least last a little while. So as long as compression is pretty even across the cylinders, I'll be very happy with that. So since the engine is already out of the car, I'm going to be using my jump box and a little jumper wire to trigger the starter, turn this thing over, and we'll see what kind of compression we get. Can't warm the engine up at this point. We didn't really want to start the motor in the car because of the condition of the wiring harness. The car itself was a little rough. It was definitely what I would say ragged out. So we didn't want to take any chances. Just went ahead and pulled the motor, and you know, if it's not healthy, it's not healthy. We got to pull it anyway. So the plan is to take this wire off, make a little spade connector that'll sit onto here. Those will tap together, and then I will run the power to my jump box, and I'll just ground probably like right here or somewhere, clean up a nice little spot, and that should get the motor turning for me. So I'll go ahead and get this harness off and we can get started on this thing. Alright, I got the nut taken off, I got the harness moved out of the way. Just a 12mm nut, comes right off. I did forget to mention that this motor did come out of a car that was wrecked, so we know it runs. We just don't know the health of it. Got all the other stuff I need over here, just my connectors, wire, crimpers, wire cutters, and my jump box. Alright, so all I did here is this will go over the main power to the starter motor. This will connect over to the solenoid since you have to power both to actually turn the motor. One will turn the starter motor, the other one will push it out. And I just put a little connector on here to make it a little easier to connect to my jump box. So let me go ahead and put this on and we'll see what happens. Alright, we'll see how much of this I can do with one hand. So the idea here is the spade connector will go onto the solenoid. Like that. And this will hook onto here and be held down by the nut. There we go. And this will just run to the jump box. And I've got a spot cleaned off right here that I'm going to throw my ground on, and this should all work. I don't know if that's going to stay, but we'll see. Alright, so now all I got to do is switch my power on and our motor should turn over. There we go. Made this a little too long, but it works great. It is pretty small gauge wire. I think this is 14 gauge, so you don't want to just send power to it forever, but it works for the purposes of just a quick compression test. So now I need to pull the spark plugs out and grab my compression tester. All right, a couple observations before I go too much further. I do have the coil packs out. The bolts holding down this harness and this coil pack were loose, which makes me think that they were tracking down some issue. You can also tell that these two coil packs are a little rustier than these. These are looking pretty good. Also, what the hell is this, right? Well, I think it's a fuel line, because when we were pulling the motor, we noticed their interesting fuel line over here, and we weren't quite sure exactly what it was for, or you know, what prompted doing that anyway. Obviously a quick fix, but I guess maybe this started leaking at some point, or maybe they broke it when doing whatever they were doing. I have no idea. All the spark plugs were actually in there, so that's good. Now let me go ahead and pull those out. Alright, the plugs are now loose. They came out pretty effortlessly, about what I would expect, so not too many concerns with that. I figured I'd wait to record pulling these out to get my first impression on camera. Alright, let's see what these things look like. That was looking pretty good. Not seeing too much of a problem here. looking pretty good as well. Number 3 is looking good. And number 4 is looking pretty good. So I'm fairly happy with how the plugs are looking. So let me go ahead and grab the compression tester and we'll see what this thing is putting down for us. So I set up the tripod since this is going to be a little tricky to do with one hand. Always want to make sure you're holding the throttle body open or you're not going to get accurate readings. As far as the numbers, you're not really looking for these to be comparable with other gauges. You're mostly looking for a solid number across all cylinders. This one's from Harbor Freight, so you can only trust the numbers so much, but it is accurate for at least seeing what the pressure of each cylinder is in comparison to each other. So open up this throttle body and let's see what we got for number 1. So we got about 145, 150. All right, number 2. Around 100. It's definitely not a good sign. All right, number 3. It's around 85. Say around 95 or so. So definitely not the results that I was hoping for, but at least we found that out before we threw this into a car. It was also somewhat expected considering the coil pack bolt on this cylinder was loose, and I believe that was the lowest compression reading. So I kind of figured they were chasing some type of problem there. Also the harness just looks like it's been kind of rigged together in certain places. I don't know what the hell's going on here, if I'm being honest with you. Yeah, who the hell knows, really. All you can really do from this point is either decide to rebuild the motor, or even better, perform a leak down test. With a leak down test, you can rotate the engine at certain positions, run compressed air through it, and depending on where your crank is located per cylinder, you can more accurately determine what the problem is, be it bad piston rings, bad valve seals, possibly bent valves, or maybe a bad head gasket. Unfortunately, I do not have an air compressor here, so I'm kind of stuck here for now. I'm gonna go ahead and throw everything back together, move it off to the side, and get it out of my way. And I'll just think about what we want to do from here. So that's about it for this video. The goal was to just do a compression test, figure out what I'm dealing with, and I think we did that quite well. Be sure to leave me a thumbs up if you feel bad about the low numbers, and if you want to know what I'm going to do with this motor, be sure to hit subscribe. But thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.